What the what?
Where the heck did you go? What's going on? Are you live yet?
Yes. I went to go get my coffee cup so I could have coffee for morning coffee.
And?
Who was here first, Vincent?
I was.
There is no coffee.
Oh, he's in so much trouble.
Yeah. So what happened was...
There is no coffee.
What happened was...
Hey, boss, I'm going to get your spot ready for you. Just saying. I'll be the favorite today.
I think Vinny should be driving to Starbucks to get everybody coffee. The whole store Vinny buys coffee for today.
Okay. Well, there's no point in me clearing a spot for your mug since there's no coffee in it.
It's empty.
Just a subtle reminder.
How am I even supposed to do this without coffee?
That Vinny messed up this morning and it wasn't me.
Great. Good freak. It's not a good morning anymore. What the hell? Look at this. He's trying to hurry up and make a gigantic pot of coffee. The coffee will be done just in time to turn this off.
For it to be over.
Gosh dang it. Anyway, now it's belt fed Phil Monday on a Wednesday.
Is that what day it is?
Today is Wednesday.
Okay.
That's awkward.
Good to know.
He's gonna fill my coffee.
Oh,
cup.
he's making your cup warm for you.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
He's filling it. Well, he is with hot coffee. He's filling it straight from the tap. This
With
is gonna,
water?
No, with coffee. It's going to be some.
No, you don't do that.
It's going to be some thick coffee.
No.
Is this like a? Is this like I don't know how many cups is that pot?
I don't know, 16 or something.
Okay, we'll say a 16-cup pot, and I'm going to get the first few drips out of it in my cup. It's going to be thick.
As Vinny would say.
Damn it! And I don't have any cream or anything with me today. God bless.
It's one of those days. You know, it's I think it's gonna be weak.
Nope.
It's hot.
Because I've done that before.
Oh, you have?
It's thick.
Yeah. The other aspect, it's gonna be really hot.
It's gonna be hot, but it's gonna be thick.
Now, how happy Vinny is.
He is so
he gets
happy right
to
now.
give you some thick coffee.
Okay. So what the hell are we talking about today, Miss Elizabeth?
What did you label it?
I don't even remember. How relevant is your law enforcement or military training? Something like that.
Oh, I like it.
Something along those lines. Or I guess you could mash together that with how relevant is your friend's law enforcement or military training, or your cousins, or your neighbor, or the dude down the street that passes information through osmosis to you. Holy moly. I don't even know if it'll pour out of the cup. It's like coffee jello.
That's a great idea.
Is it?
Yes.
I don't know.
Are you kidding me? Take some coffee. Yes. It's got to be
Look
hot
at
anyway.
look at all the oil sitting on top of it. I mean, that's
It's thick. You get the freshness of the fridge.
this is.
Let's see.
I'm more nervous about drinking this than I was about getting tased this morning.
Correction. Stunned.
Stunned. That is not delicious.
And now you messed up the whole rest of the pot. Now my coffee's going to taste like crap too. I blame you, Vincent.
Good. I mean, in my
Okay.
defense, my coffee's delicious.
That's great. Thanks, Vinny. Anyway, so no, I'm not doing it. It is hot.
That's how you spell
Dominic,
that?
good morning.
Huh, interesting.
What?
That's how you spell that.
Spell what?
Spitaki. Isn't that's I feel like I remember that from my childhood, my dad saying Spitaki or something like say it.
Spit take.
No. No.
Yes.
No. What is there's a word that sounds like that.
Okay, we haven't even started discussing what we're supposed to be discussing
And I
here.
still don't have coffee
Yeah.
in my
Here,
late. My
what
late
we could
Liz
do
cup.
is we could dump half of mine
Nope.
in there and then just fill the rest of it with hot
Vincent.
water, and it'd probably
Vincent.
be okay.
Vincent.
This is like
What's
a
up?
really bad espresso.
There's a tiny bit left.
Here we go. Now I'm good.
Now I'm good.
Wait, just kidding. It says
backwash.
syrup right there. Nope.
It's a vanilla latte.
Okay, so what we wanted to talk about today is, because this happens
All the time.
all the time, almost every day probably. I don't need to take CCW, I was in the Marine Corps. Okay, because you carried a concealed gun as a civilian while you're in the military. Probably not. Most of the time, you didn't even handle a handgun. Most of the time, even when you did, you didn't shoot it very good. So, but we constantly hear that. Oh, here's another really good one. We had somebody ask to skip defensive 1, maybe even defensive 1 and 2. I don't know, because their friend has been teaching them, who's a cop, and we have lots of cops that come here. We have lots of law enforcement trainers that come here who will tell you a lot of the cops aren't so good. Okay. This person said, I'd like to skip defensive 1, and I can't remember if she said defensive 2. We'll just say defensive 1. Because my friend's been teaching me. She couldn't even grip the gun correctly, much less draw and grip the gun correctly. So, we constantly hear this, like, I don't need to take this, or I don't need to do that because I was in the military, or I am in the military, or I'm a cop, or I used to be a cop, or whatever. The bottom line is, so what? That's really what it comes down to. So what? Vincent, how much pistol shooting did you do in the Marine Corps? That's a whole lot. Like, you did so much that you went all the way around in a big circle.
No, I was a 0.
Oh, it was a 0. Oh, damn it. I was confused.
What?
I was a 0.
Shit.
Yeah.
I touched a rifle and a 6-shot 40-millimeter grenade launcher. That was it.
So you shot a revolver.
I did, but it shot grenades.
Completely different.
Exactly the same.
Completely different.
So, yeah. Every day we hear somebody will say that, hey, I don't want to do this, or I don't need to do this, or when I was in the Marine Corps, we were taught to shoot this way, or that way, or this way. Get over it. Start over.
And
Learn more.
Yeah, so the concept of saying that...
Just not good.
So there's the extra training, like continuing your training, the lack of handgun experience, all that stuff. But the mental aspect of it too, like the civilian versus first responder, essentially, that's a very, very different mindset.
Yeah, and so I would also, I want to say this. The first one won't come off bad. Next one might come off bad.
You pointed to me. What the
No,
heck?
I wasn't pointing at you. Just general hand motions.
Okay.
As a law enforcement officer, you're a first responder. As really as a military member of the military, you're not. You're in a war.
A high responder. Let's say high responder.
Okay, high responder. All right. So your responsibilities are completely different. Your rules are completely different. So now, is there some training that transfers over? Absolutely. Mindset stuff, just in like never giving up, whether you're hurt or having an understanding that just because the bad guy's hurt doesn't mean they're out of the fight. Understanding basic concepts of cover and concealment and all that. Absolutely, that kind of stuff translates over. But just at the base level, being able to carry a gun or just shoot a handgun well is a lot harder than shooting a rifle well. So I think that we often put those folks on a pedestal, and that's all well and good. I think that they deserve a lot of respect. But when it comes to learning how to conceal a firearm or carry a firearm, or when it's appropriate to use it or not use it. It's not always the best resource, especially from the military side, on when it can be used. Law enforcement has a little bit different perspective because their rules are different, but they also generally have. I was going to say generally have the idea of the rules for armed civilians too, and not really.
Yeah,
not
I
really.
would say not really. I think that it's a common misconception that they do. It's a common misconception that cops are gun people. They're not always gun people. Sometimes they are, but I would say the vast majority of them aren't specifically gun people. And by gun people, I mean that someone who chooses to invest extra time, effort, money into it because they enjoy it. It's a recreational thing, not only just a tool. Now, you can become absolutely awesome and proficient with it just because it's a tool. It doesn't have to be recreational. But just that initial choice of going to a police officer for guidance on how to shoot a gun or to how to carry a gun defensively, and the mindset is what we need to understand is different. I would say most cops understand that when they explain things to a civilian, they understand that they're explaining things in a different way. But that's what they live and breathe, that stuff. So it's really hard to flip that switch to civilian from law enforcement. I imagine. Obviously, I'm not law enforcement, but I do know going from teaching law enforcement concepts, force continuum and escalation of force for law enforcement, and then teaching CCW. After that was a huge shift for me to understand those differences there and to understand them, to explain them simply. So if you can consider a cop who's lived and breathed that stuff for many years or whatever, trying to explain to a civilian when they can and cannot use force, or I don't know why people tell me cops say this all the time. I hope it's not true, but the whole drag them inside. Yeah. I always hear that's coming from cops. I can't imagine that a cop, or you should have shot him, or you should have just pointed your gun. Like, I hear these statements coming from students often that, well, I was talking to my cop neighbor and they said to do this, just drag him inside, or you should have shot him, or you should have done this. And almost always it's a bad suggestion. And it's really hard as the instructor to say that this officer who has that you have grown up understanding as an authority and an expert in this world, to tell you that they're wrong. And they're human beings. They're humans, and they have so many things to remember, not just how to shoot a gun, but they have to know how to use their taser, they have to know how to use their OC, they have to know escalation of force, they have to know civil rights, they have to know radio calls, all kinds of things that they have to know for their job. So forgive them if they don't know some of the complexities of the differences between law enforcement and civilian, but understand that you as a student need to understand where you're getting your information from and the mindset behind that information, just so you can take that information as objective facts or details, not opinions that they're telling you to do this in a certain way, so you can make decisions based off of your own lifestyle.
How to avoid invisible dogs.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and I agree with the having to tell somebody when they say, well, my uncle's a cop and he told me that I just need to do this. And you're like, nope. What do you mean, no? Nope. Like, that's not what you should do.
Yeah.
I enjoy it when I have a cop, of some law enforcement officer of some sort, whatever level in a CCW class. Then afterwards they're like,
Absolutely.
That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And it's always cool to hear their perspective, especially somebody who's done it for, 15, 20, 30 years and has been around and seen all the crap that there is to see. It certainly has a bigger picture view, but maybe doesn't understand some of the complexities that come along with just being an armed civilian and not having the badge anymore, assuming that person is retired or whatever. Yeah,
It's a different world.
it is. It's a different world, and far too often we see bad advice coming from well-intentioned people.
Yeah.
And I'd say the biggest source of bad advice is usually military. Whether it's somebody, I was in the military and I'm giving advice to my next door neighbor that is inappropriate, or I was in the military, so I figure I don't have to take this class or learn. I don't have to take a class on how to learn how to use a handgun. I was in the Marine Corps for 8 years. I put bombs on airplanes. Right? Like, I didn't run around and shoot handguns. I shot a lot of handguns after I got out of the Marine Corps. Not while I was in. I didn't know crap. I certainly understood basic firearm safety just because I was taught that, but not how to use a damn handgun. So that's respectable. It doesn't mean they know what they're talking about. I've worked with tons of cops who have no idea what they're talking about. Absolutely.
Sure, absolutely. They're humans.
Coming from somebody who was a cop, right? So, Jeff Alley, good morning. And we will often tell people that, like, hey, you get another cop in here who is a trainer, who's in this world and devotes time to it, they will tell you that most cops out there don't. And it's not a knock on them, because like she said, they've got a ton of other things to keep up on. I think understanding how to use the tools on your belt to defend your life is a pretty important one. But it is but one of many things they have to keep up on, and I totally get it. We often look at them as gun experts simply because they put a gun on their hip, and that's not necessarily true. So, both of you at the range. I said that all the time. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's a tough place because we really want the other side of that is, yes, they're not always experts. Some of them are, but this is also kind of geared towards you guys as LE or military that take the time to invest more into the skill set of using your firearm, whether it's your tool on duty professionally or your concealed carry holder. That belief that that's all you need, the training that you get in military or firearms training here, it's never enough. Not ever. Don't ever stop growing. It's never enough.
It's not. We tell people all the time that we teach this stuff for a living. We still go and take multiple classes every year, and if you think you're done learning, you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
failed.
fulfilled that prophecy by saying, "Yep, I quit," because that's really what you did. Is you gave up on it. It doesn't matter what level of shooter you are, you can still learn something else. Doesn't matter what level of communicator you are, you can still learn something else. Doesn't matter what level of medical proficiency you have, you can still learn something else. And if you don't, all you're going to do is regress.
And you have to keep practicing. That's why they call it a practice, like a doctor's practice, because they literally practice every single day. And would you want a doctor to see you after they haven't been practicing for, 10 years or something? I would rather have a doctor or whoever is doing the skill. I would rather that proficiency come from practice all the time.
Yeah, I like what Nick says. I quickly discovered that complacency is the death of whatever skill it is, whether it's martial arts or body work or shooting or whatever. Absolutely.
100%.
I use bikes often as an example, right? Most everybody grew up riding bicycles. Most everybody could pull one out of the shed, fill the tires up with air. Fill the air up with tires? That might work too. See, that's how long it's been. Fill the tires up with air and get on it and pedal it down the street. But you couldn't ride even at the same level that you could when you were a teenager, right? Much less at any sort of high level. Follow me through a trail somewhere or just down a road. And you will very quickly learn that, hey, I'm not really riding this bike very well. And that's a very easy skill. Doesn't matter what it is. If you don't practice it, you lose it. And that also doesn't mean, oh my.
Preach.
This is going to sound terrible coming from a shooting range, but don't just come out and put holes in paper and say like, bang, 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 bang. Yep, I did it. I'm good. High five to me, and I win. Because you're practicing the stuff that you're practicing loading your magazines. Good job. You're practicing loading your gun and pulling the trigger. Good job. But what are you really learning? Now, if you're brand new to it, that stuff's super important. Just showing up and getting more comfortable with loading your magazines. That's a skill to learn. I mean, it sounds...
It's inoculation to the...
Yeah, it sounds strange that I got to learn how to load a magazine. Yeah, and you want to get to a point where you can just, without having to look at the magazine and figure out how do I put my thumbs and my fingers to make all this stuff work, that's a skill to learn. So at the very beginning, simply coming and shooting is hugely important. All of those big, gross things that we talk about often, the sights, sounds, smells, feels that go into shooting a gun, those are all important skills to learn. But once you have learned those skills and you are comfortable loading the magazine, loading the gun, finding your sights, and pressing a trigger, okay, now there's more stuff to learn. I gotta
read the whole thing. Phil, I
don't
remember.
know. I don't know if I want to read it out loud. Coming from who it's coming from. Oh yeah, so tons of firearms experience, tons, and still wanting to learn. So essentially, bringing lots of qualifications, certifications, and experience on paper and saying, this is where I've been, what I've done, and so forth. I want to be better. And that's a perfect example of humbleness, right? Humbleness to say that, hey, I've been around the world and done a bunch of crap. I want to be better with this other tool here.
It's a huge difference when a student contacts us and says, hey, here's all my certificates. How can I speed past defensive 1 and 2 and 3 so I can go take Vinny's spicy drills or whatever? Versus the student that says, yeah, I got all these certificates. Where do I start? I want to start at the beginning. We had a student in our complete combatant class that was like that. He's like, I've taken classes here, here, and here, and now I want to take yours, and I want to start at the very beginning. He had been through multiple high-level classes, and he wanted to start at the very beginning again. Every time you hear it from somebody else, just hearing it again, they're building connections in your brain that you didn't even realize could exist, to the point where you'll be one of those people that have forgotten more than this person will ever know. You've always heard people say that, and that's because they never gave up on learning, and they never had let that Dunning-Kruger effect take place. That feeling of, okay, I'm pretty good at this, and I'm sufficient, and that's it. There's nowhere else for me to go. And if you ever think you're at the top, then keep looking up.
Yeah. We offer, if you've taken a class, one of our classes, and you paid for the class, okay, you can retake that class for free, right? Not very many other places at all offer that. If we have an open seat, now we do ask that you wait till 2 or 3 days ahead of time before the class starts. If you see there's an open seat in the class, you can retake that class, and it costs you nothing. You will learn something else. I don't care if you took that class a week ago or a month ago or a year ago. You will learn something else. Maybe something the instructor says differently. Maybe you took it from a different trainer. You took it from me first, and then you're taking it from Liz, right? And she says something a little bit differently. She communicates differently than I do. Or she will pick up on something that you're doing differently than I did. And you will learn something else. Even if you just sat through the exact same class, where all the exact same words and things were done, you will make a different connection somewhere, because there's already parts that make sense to you now. And so now when you hear this first part, now the whole thing makes sense. So you're not done.
And it's so much fun. That's my favorite. It was when those connections.
Yeah, when you see that, you're like,
oh. It's like, I've the last class I worked on this, and between that class and this class I practiced and I worked on my grip, and now I'm reliably keeping my pinkies engaged when I'm trying to go fast or whatever. And then the next time you can work on another part of it to keep working on little bits and pieces to make you a very well-rounded shooter. So let's take it again.
Do it. And again, something else we say all the time. Take classes with us. Absolutely, we want you to. Take classes with other people. Go somewhere else. Go someplace local here. Go to Arkansas or North Carolina or Arizona or wherever. Go take classes with other people. Find, that YouTube instructor that's a good instructor that let's just say it's Warrior Poet or
Jedi.
Jedi or something like that. Go take a class from these people. Go take, go to, what the hell's the name of the damn gun site? I don't remember. Go to one of these other bigger academies, and take a class. Do it.
If there's one and if there's one you're looking into that you're just not sure, you're like, hey, I've been watching this person on YouTube, or I heard about this person, reach out to us and say, hey, what do you think about this person? If we know something, we'll give you our opinion. Maybe one of us has taken a class from them, and we can give you some feedback there. So,
yeah, traveling to go take a class from Tim. You get to one of these high level. Who's the dude down in Oklahoma? Competitive shooter, former jarhead. Drawing a freaking blank on his name right now. But there's several instructors that are high level instructors that aren't very far away.
Yeah,
right,
for sure.
That you can go take some high level classes now.
And they travel sometimes and come here sometimes.
Don't overestimate your own abilities and go take a high level class that you're not ready for. And we have people do that in our own classes. Right, taking a defensive one and are still trying to learn how to load their magazine. That's not. Well, who the hell is it?
Chelsea says, or go to a competition that will always be testing your skills. Absolutely,
yes.
That's absolutely you would.
Okay, God dang it. Yes, so competitive shooting is a great way to put newly learned skills to the test, to learn more stuff, either by doing and failing and screwing something up, by watching other shooters who are really good, and even from some shooters who aren't so good, and be like, I shouldn't, now I know how not to do that thing. You get a little bit of pressure put on you with all your peers standing around watching you shoot, and the pressure of the clock, so it's a great...
It's a way to dynamically shoot under adrenaline, and there's obviously lots of things within competition shooting that you can, fundamentals of using cover and all that stuff. But just the aspect of shooting while you're moving and thinking and under adrenaline, that was coming from someone who doesn't compete. I've competed once, real big one, and the adrenaline that I felt from that, and that was my biggest learning moment, was just shooting under that amount of pressure, and it was awesome.
It was actually quite funny that she's talking about the Spartan 300, and in the morning we show up, and she's like, I don't know about this, 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 and after the very first stage, she's like, I want more!
Everybody was all slumped over, like it's hot, it's time to go, and me and Chelsea were just like, we still shooting? Like, let's go.
End of the day, trying to figure out if we're doing a team thing or not. I'm like, I hope she says no. She's like, hell yeah, I want to do this. Let's go shoot.
Go shoot stuff. Oh, Vinny made me go shoot his carbine 3-course the other day, that morning, where he set up everything, and then the student didn't set their alarm. Anyway.
Did I go off about that? I think I went off.
You did. You had a belt-fed moment.
Yeah.
But Vinny come upstairs, and I was on the computer doing something. He's like, let's go. And I'm like, Vinny, I can't. I'm so busy, and blah, blah, blah.
I didn't want to waste it.
He's like, it's going to take like 30 seconds. Just go. Let's go. And I'm like, no. I did it. It didn't take very long, and it was amazing. Thanks, Vinny.
You're welcome. And as Nick says, hey, twice a month there's competitions right here in this building. So
This one right here?
Yep, right here.
Oh my
right
God.
here. The range
What?
center moves west. I don't know why I just said it that way. All right. I got to get going because I got a meeting, and you guys got to open the doors for calls. So,
Oh, it's about that time. About that time, eh?
if you need something from us, come hang out with us. 14803 Manchester Road in beautiful Baldwin, Missouri. It is a not beautiful day
not
outside
very beautiful today.
It is kind of crappy.
It's beautiful in here, though.
So it's a perfect day to come and shoot your new Christmas presents, or come buy yourself a new Christmas present, and then go downstairs and shoot it. 10 to 8 Monday to Friday, Saturday 9 to 6, Sunday 10 to 6. You got anything else?
No.
Vinny, do you have anything?
I dodging
right.
things everywhere.
You guys stay.
Hold on. Nick says, "Hey, what about that instructor coming in?"
You talking about Jedi? Jedi is coming here in January. Modern Samurai Project class is sold out pretty fast. We did have 2 seats open up,
And then they sold out.
and they disappeared. So, if you have an opportunity and you happen to see any spots open up,
Oh, complete combatant.
oh, complete combatant,
Brian Hill.
Brian Hill is coming in.
Send us an email. We gotta. What?
I don't know. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say
That's
we
him.
gotta.
Yeah. That's what the hell's the name of the class?
Oh.
It's a shooting course, but it's really about testing your own limits. It's damn it. I'm drawing a blank on what the hell it's called.
Yeah, he's got cool names. He's very much a coach, and
yes,
and the types of classes that he hosts are very deep.
He's very
awesome.
cerebral.
Man, what is
it's
something
like
of inner game of shooting? That's what.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's about you.
Yeah.
And it's not an instructor level class or anything. You do have to be a pretty competent shooter already, but it's really about finding your own weaknesses and how to fix them. And I know one of my big ones is this thing right here. And from his last course, I use a.
He said, "Well,
I'm out." From the last time that he was here last year, November, I often show that there's a video of me screwing up the test at the end of the course, and it was mostly because of this thing right here. And Brian is very big on getting your head in the game instead of letting your head take you out of the game.
Yeah.
So, and I screwed it up. And
You
so I
got
show
mad.
that to my students a lot when
You
I
do?
talk about that. Yeah, I do. I pull that video up all the time in class and show it.
This is tough.
I hate it.
This is tough.
I hate it because it's me failing and it sucks. But
Yeah, but you beating yourself up is the failure, not the qualification. That's the point. You're saying you failed at like whatever the shooting driller was, but that's not the failure. The failure is how you beat yourself up afterwards.
Well,
And the mindset you put yourself in because of that.
Because it was 4 separate tests, right? First one went fine. Second one I screwed up, and then my head got screwed up.
Yeah.
And then that screwed me up for the next 2.
Yeah.
Right? Because my head was checked out. All I was thinking about was the mess up.
Yeah.
Right? And that then screwed me up for the rest of the time. So if I had just said, okay, it happened. Same thing I tell my student all the time. Nothing I can do about it. It's over. Just learn from the mistake that you made and don't do that mistake again. It's that simple. My brain don't.
It's just not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy at all. So anyway, I gotta go. So stay safe, be nice to one another, and we'll catch you soon.
Toodles.
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 Hit the button
Awkward
already.
pause.